super interesting story from John Heyman that came out this week that JD Martinez, former Dodger, made a surprise visit to Florida, to Tampa Bay, to work with Mookie Betts and to sort of help him with his hitting. Now, this is interesting for a couple of reasons. One is the very next series, we've seen Mookie Betts go 4 for 8 in his last 2 games. So that's a thing. But also, it reminds me that back in 2018, it was actually JD Martinez, along with now Dodgers hitting coach Robert Von Scoyac, who were kind of the 2 guys that rebuilt Mookie Betts' swing and turned him into the guy that he was. The JD Martinez was the one who basically brought launch angle to Mookie Betts and changed his career forever. Mookie eventually, at one point, said those 4, Van Scoyac, JD Martinez, the 2 Red Sox hitting coaches at the time, were single-handedly responsible for who I am today. Coming out of the Tampa series, he goes 0 for 4 against St. Louis, maybe a little bit of bad batted ball luck. But the last 2 games, 4 for 8 with 2 extra base hits, 2 doubles, Bruce. So has JD Martinez fixed Mookie Betts?
You hope so, right? We've seen it, not necessarily a fixing before, but we've seen JD Martinez really improve Mookie Betts before. You said it in 2018. It was Martinez that was really a huge player in that, one of the best offensive seasons of all time for Mookie in 2018. And then when the Dodgers signed JD Martinez ahead of 2023, that was the best year Mookie's had in a Dodger uniform. He was excellent that season, and everybody was talking about it the whole year, that JD Martinez's presence, not only like preseason with rebuilding the swing or anything like that, but just his constant presence and reminders and pushing Mookie, that all really helped too. So, it can't hurt to go see JD Martinez because he's done great things with Mookie a few different times before. And whether it's swing tweaks, whether it's just mental things, I think JD can really help Mookie in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And I mean, as you look at these last 2 days, I see a lot more line drives. I mentioned the 2 extra base hits. Now, nobody should overreact to a 4 for 8 over 2 games, but it does feel like there's a little bit something different there. Again, the line drives, the quality of contact are both up. I have to imagine at the very least, mentally, that's got to be relieving to Mookie Betts, that maybe the weight that he feels like he's carrying on his shoulders, I think he was 0 for 24 at one point. Like, at least he's not carrying that anymore.
Yeah, and like you said, we've seen line drives into corners. It's felt like a lot of this year it's been gap to gap and not a lot of using the whole field, and that's been good to see from Mookie Betts. Like you said, it's 2 games, so you can't assume that Mookie is like all the way back now, but anything that'll help him rebound, if it's a different process, if it's a swing change, he just needed something to change, and it seems like that's happened, at least through these last 2 games. He's looked a lot closer to the Mookie Betts that when he steps up to the plate, you can feel good about it and not feel like that you're waiting for the guy on deck.
And we've mentioned on this show, Mookie Betts, we've talked a little bit about how Alex Freeland has incredibly lucky batted ball results so far with the batting average on balls of play of like 470. Mookie Betts is at 240. So he is one of the most unlucky players when it comes to batting average on balls in play. Now, his poor contact quality, his poor speed are going to contribute to that. So it's not all bad luck, but you would have to imagine there's a little bit of positive regression you would have to expect at the very least. And then if there's more line drives, if there's more quality contact, if there's more confidence from Mookie Betts, that's all good news. You and I have not gotten a chance to talk, by the way. Dave Roberts basically telling Dodgers fans who want Mookie Betts moved out of the number 1 or 2 hole to go kick rocks, essentially. He said those requests have fallen on deaf ears, I believe was his language. Any response from you? Like, what goes through your mind when you see Dave Roberts take that hard of a stand against moving Mookie Betts down?
It's what I expected, because Dave Roberts and the Dodgers as a whole, they want to stand behind Mookie Betts, and the optics and the feeling to Mookie, if he hit this stretch or he's been bad, like there's no way around that. But if the immediate response was to say, hey, you're the secondary face of the franchise, you've already won 2 World Series with us, you're not old, but this slump is extended through the whole season and we're going to immediately move you down the lineup, that would not help anything. It would just, create doubts, and whether Mookie said it would say that it would or not, it's just the kind of mental stuff that baseball is such a mental game. And when we're in August, there's no real reason to do that. I do think that if we reach October and we're still where we're at now, Dave Roberts does not have to bind to those comments, because like if Mookie's rolling out there with a 650 OPS in the playoffs, I highly doubt that they're going to be batting him first or second. But at this point in the season, the right thing to do for Roberts is to say, we're sticking by our guy. We believe he's going to figure it out. and that can only help Mookie Betts to hear.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think it speaks volumes to the locker room as well. These are all guys that want their manager to stick up for Mookie Betts. You saw the reaction when he had that first double, and the whole bullpen just like bolts out of their chairs to cheer him on from the gate. I think it's obvious that Dave Roberts has a pulse of the locker room and knows that this is going to be a little victory for the locker room, both for his sort of street cred in that room, but also as a unifying, like, hey, Mookie's our guy, and he's not getting thrown under the bus because the offense is struggling right now. So something to keep an eye on. Again, 4 for 8 in his last 2 games. Does that continue? Because this is a nice story for 2 days, but if we get a week from now and you and I are back here and it's like a 2 for 14 stretch or something in between, this is all going to be forgotten, and the JD Martinez storyline will be long gone. So